a much higher. Chris and his wife, her, are going gangbusters. I love it. They're making all kinds of progress, I think, or at least I think they think. And today, all morning long, I've been wishing I had more contact with the Satsang, with our group. And sure enough, Michael made it happen. I'd like to come more often if I can. The reason I came today was I feel so fucking happy. Just joyous throughout my body. And the gas ball is the body. I'm so relaxed. I'm falling inside. It's so blissful. I have so much happiness here. But I also want to start toughening up the meditation practice during satsang and around satsang. And I don't know yet what, but right now I'm going to be steadying down and teaching in a way that's similar to Nisargadatta, but which I think is more friendly. You see, when you've done enough sadhana, and even before you've done enough, we can run into prophets who sing God's name. And people inside satsang become enchanted. That's all that there is to it. You come to become enchanted like them. But they don't say how to stay enchanted except to keep coming. But you can always remain enchanted if you separated yourself and your mind from your body. Because it's the body that's active all day long, along with the mind. Always thinking about things that should be done. And the thing that we should be doing with our minds is to lead us all to a place of ecstasy, where you feel sunk into God Himself. He's everywhere. She's everywhere. And I just claim my existence by looking up these eyes. But right now, mostly I'm sunk into my body. Right now, there's probably about 60% of my attention is on my body, in my body. Right now, I'm holding on to a nugget of supreme satisfaction, of happiness, of being who I am, and having been able to drop below the body identification level, the level of energies. But even energies are really bound to the mechanical world. But this first level of transcendence, wherein I'm totally absorbed into my body, I just don't feel like doing anything. Somebody sent something to me that I can't read. Who sent it?
Lauren said that she needs to leave.
Oh, you can't do it. Not allowed. If you leave, hungry demons will follow you. So there. But right now, the totality of me is sunk into my body, and I am my body. But my body feels empty. And all around me is happiness, but it's a peculiar kind of happiness. It's not about something that's happening in myself that I'm happy about. It's just that when I'm sunk into my body this way, I become happy. I can even feel the happiness flowing outwards a few feet at a time. It's there when I do satsang. And it's explicitly here today when I'd like to train or begin to train people to drop into this initial level of both escape and of bliss. We're not going to come here just to fart around anymore, but to become enlightened. There is a person deep inside of you. Most people will not have access to this. But it's there. Every time you drop your mind and sit still long enough to feel it, it's like a gentle breeze blows through my entire body. And my body is in ecstasy from my chin down to my toes. This is not a result of thought. It's not an accident. It's not a trick to develop meditation. But meditation happens when you continue to look into that fullness of you, and gradually over time, release yourself from the karma of everyday actions. Now, one of the reasons the satsang has not been growing is that I haven't shown you what's beyond ordinary life enough to convince you, or at least practice this way a little. And many of the people here revert back to apartment or householder life within 15 minutes after satsang ends. For these people, coming more often to satsang is imperative. Each time you can acquire the ability to drop into yourself and to reach the bliss of self, although it's not self yet at all. But when your thinking stops and your body is relaxed and receptive, it can happen that you drop into this area where sentience is the dominant experience. I know we all have experiences of that in everyday mind. But in meditation, we have to begin moving away from identification with the body. And you can do that several ways: by reading teachers that talk about getting rid of the world, or just knowing it and following this path as your path. But it's always important to know where you're going and what you're doing. I never did know what I was doing or where I was going. No matter what Zen center I was in, I always felt I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Not a clue. It wasn't until about 9 years after Robert's death that I began to feel that I really understood him and was obtaining the state he was in when he talked to us. But there are much, much deeper states that take you totally away from the body, take you away from your devotion and your bliss, until you're just in a vast emptiness which penetrates everything. And you're in a calmness that is so much more refined than the level of bliss ultimately, what you have to do is to realize you're not your body. You're not your body's activities in the world. You're not your mind either. You're the watcher. The part of you is there, the part that can engage in hearing or speaking. But who can easily remove himself or itself from the ordinary man state and even this state of delirium in the stream of God. I have all of these different words because I feel them differently at different times. But there's such a sense of devotion here, and yet no one to be devoted to. So I turn my attention around and devote myself to observing myself at all levels. So the first task is to learn how to disabuse yourself of the idea that you are the body. You have a body. You live within the body, in a sense. So why don't you know the body really deeply? It's because your mind is on something else. On what are you going to do today? Do I have anything on the burner that's urgent? If not, then join us in doing nothing except sinking our bodies, while sinking our attention. Sinking our attention into our bodies. And gradually pull down all the other sensations we have into this state. So it's steady, it's not fluctuating. Now feel yourself. You can feel like bliss is everywhere, or sometimes just in a small area around the throat. You can just stay there in this state of observing your body as other, while becoming increasingly aware of the watching consciousness within. And begin to learn how to sink into our bodies and to obtain samadhi on this body, which is beyond all the other bodies, and therefore which itself has no separate bodies. It's just there. As the final step of being a human being. This is to the state of the divine. It's what all religions subscribe to. Permanent relaxation in the face of everything. Because you know you're beyond your body and you're beyond your mind. And whatever happens to them does not really touch you. You're so much deeper than these things. And right away, this begins to win you a constant sense of happiness. You're not your body, you're not your mind. You're something else. And you begin searching for this something else. Now, not many teachers spend much time talking about experiences inside Satsang because they want us to cut the attachment to our feelings in our mind so as to remain blissful. But at the early stages, you can't. You can't will yourself. It has to be as a kiss from within, inviting you. And if you feel already invited, you're in the right place. Now, I highly recommend reading Nisargadatta. He's the only popular teacher that places you as the boss of everything. You can just rest in peace and happiness and watch the whole shit show from beginning to end and not influence you in any way, not touch you in your happiness. Now, I'd like to do some satsangs like this spontaneously around your meditation time. So if you allow me, I'd like to continue. And I want to see too, those who think it may be a good thing to expand our reach, to let more people know about the bliss that could be had by dropping into yourself and learning how to drop into yourself. There's much to it. There's much more to it than all this, much deeper, but this is baby steps. This is baby beginning. This is what Robert taught all the time. Just fucking relax. Shut up. Just sit in your silence. And gradually the thought processes go away. The more you practice, the more it can happen to you. We identify more with the vessel of the body as a receiver of bliss than any other state. This would go on for a few years. And what goes beyond that, I don't want to reveal now. Because not everybody goes this way. Not everybody would think that this was necessary. But this is the kind of step that Nisargadatta and Robert both talk about, which is plunging deeper and deeper into the I am, into yourself as you know it, and learning how to recover self-experience from all other experiences. So, comments? Does anybody have any comments?
Edji, I strongly encourage you on this tack. I think this is a great movement on your part. Like you've received some inspiration, some motivation to push this forward or to promote this, whatever you want to say. And I'm very pleased.
Good, thank you. Vesselina seems so serious. Chris seems so deep into himself. Bernadette is locked in her own bliss, I think. I just want to emphasize that inner vision that you learn and that you experience through your effort. Brings you to the footsteps of infinite and sustained bliss. And you could feel the bliss in a fairly short period of time. But in this kind of satsang, it's not necessary to be blissful all the time. Each time you are feeling blissful, all areas of yourself are aware of it. It's doing its own work. Selena, what do you think?
It's just my cat is looking at me and meowing. And he wants me to play with him, but
Okay. I see you're deeply into what I was saying.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Catherine.
This is a nice surprise.
Ooh. Surprise. Thank you. I want to thank Michael too. Michael isn't as calm as he used to be. I don't know whether it was calmness so much as a depression back then. But he's left that behind him into a very positive kind of practice. So we'll see how each of us does. I love you all. Continue to practice if you want. Try it with chanting. Chanting is always wonderful for developing that love and devotion.